हाँ। Once again, a very good morning to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. We have the dignitaries settled on the dais, and we can jolly well start with our program today. On behalf of CEE, I am Tushar Jani, Senior Program Director for Environment Management Cell, which largely deals with industrial projects, and one of which was in Surat on textile. Many of you that have interacted with us or that we have visited your premises or you have attended our programs would be aware that for last 18 months, CEE was working out of Surat to develop a roadmap that would lead the textile industry to sustainability. A unique experiment of its own kind, which I can proudly say that we have largely covered and we are on the verge of completion. And very shortly, report on the same will be released, and would be happy to share a copy of the same to all of you. So please, if you haven't registered at the main gate, do share your email ID with us so that we can send you a copy of the report. Thank you. With that, I would welcome and I would request my director, Shri Karthikeya Sarabhai, to welcome the guests and to give a note of welcoming. Shri Karthikeya Sarabhai.
Good morning, everyone. The slight delay shows is an indication of our interest, in the interest of the panel. Ms. Prajakta Verma, she took care. You know, I've seen many exhibits where people exhibit well, and then people just go by, and then you don't see them. But the vibrancy of this, and I was also talking to the Surat industry, how many of these will get utilized. This is a very interesting thing. Let me thank also Shalini Agarwalji, Commissioner Surat Municipal, and the people on the dais, Archana Dattaji from UNEP, which gave us an opportunity to work on the textile thing, and she will explain how UNEP is considered this such a priority area for the roadmap. Both the SDCCI and the SDTPA, Mr. Bodawala and Shri Jitendra Vakharia have been such strong supporters of this program from the beginning, and his colleagues. And but for that, we would not be meeting here today for taking this forward. I've just come back from the COP27 meeting, and the problems of environment are no longer something which seem like they are away or they are a luxury. The changes are happening, in fact, so rapidly. And as you know, our Prime Minister has taken really difficult targets which not even his own departments have at that time said that they want to do it, but he has taken on targets of a net zero by, I think, 2070. He's talked about energy 50% by, I think, when India completes 100 years. Many other targets have been taken, and unless these are translated at the state level, at the industry level, this is not going to happen. The whole movement towards circularity, which of course is a new word in some ways for us, but it's a word which nature has lived with forever. When we ask school children, what is the one thing you don't find in nature? So they sometimes don't know, but sometimes you have to say that it is waste. Without, madam, a municipality there, or without any governance laws, nature has done it so that the output of one becomes an input for another. even a fallen tree is not removed from our forests, natural forests, because they are again part of that cycle. Children at a very young age learn about the water cycle. They don't learn so much about the carbon cycle, which I think through another project we are looking at climate change education in schools. But the whole approach towards the cyclical nature and how we deal with nature is something which Indians, in their own way, without calling it climate change, have been part of for actually decades. And again, the Prime Minister has talked about lifestyles. He's talked about how we have to enhance some of those practices and put it in new. And these are opportunities which UNEP has seen that India can really lead in many of these things. It's not that we are following, and that leadership comes both from the experience and commitment of industry, but also from many of the young minds which we saw just outside who are innovating. And I think it's the combination of those two, working with administration and others, that can do. And we hope that the industry associations really they are at the center of it to take leadership in this. And we are just hoping that Surat will become the model of textiles, not only for India, but for the world. And I think that is the ambition of this project, and that will happen through your leadership. People like us at CE and others will work with you and help. And then we have people like Prasad Modakji, who is here. He's really a champion. I remember many years ago when these words were not known, we did a book with him. And that time environment was seen as something which deals with pollution, maybe one or two other things. But today we realize that it's a central part of our life, it's a central part of agriculture, it's a central part of urban systems, of rural and others. And textiles being, I think, the second largest perhaps employer in India is critical to this. So with those few words, let me again welcome all of you and welcome the panel to this very important meeting day today. Thank you.
Thank you, Karthikeya sir. Thank you for those words of wisdom. And thank you for pointing out that Surat is number one in many, many aspects, including that in the textile, in the field of textile. And let me assure you, there is a sensitized community, there is a sensitized section of textile industry that really wants to work on sustainable developments and circularity. I'm sure the report which will be released will work as a guideline for many, many industrial houses or many, many clusters, not only in Surat, but across the country. With that, we would like to welcome our guests on the dais by felicitating them by offering a unique bouquet, which doesn't have flowers in it, but it has textile in it. I would request Shri Karthikeya Sharabhai to offer a bouquet to Prajakta ma'am, the Joint Secretary, Ministry of Textile. Now I would request Mr. Himanshu Bodawala, the President of Southern Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to felicitate Commissioner of Surat City, Ms. Shalini Agarwal ma'am. And our third dignitary on the dais is Mr. Vipan Kohli, who was sent with a special message by the Textile Commissioner Roop Rashi ji that he's representing the commissionerate, and then he would not only share a few things with us, but he will take the message home. So I would request Shri Jitendra Wakharia to please offer this unique textile bouquet to Mr. Kohli. On the similar lines, the Southern Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industry, STCCI, would also like to welcome the dignitaries on the dais. I would request the President, Mr. Himanshu Bodawala, to offer the unique gift for which they will be remembered to Ms. Prajakta ma'am. And I would request immediate past president, Mr. Ashish Gujarati, to felicitate SMC commissioner here. Ms. Shalini Agarwal, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am. Now I would request Mr. Bhavesh Taylor to felicitate Shri Vipin Kohli. These are our tokens of appreciation for the dignitaries to have come to Surat and to the chamber here. Would request Mr. Bhavesh Gadia to welcome and felicitate Karthikeya Sarabhai, Director, Center for Environment Education. Now I would request Mr. Vijay Bewawala to please welcome and felicitate Ms. Archana Datta, who has traveled from Delhi. She belongs to UNEP, United Nations Environment Program, the key organization that brought our project to Surat. Thank you all. To take the program further, I would request Ms. Archana Datta to give her opening remarks on behalf of the UNEP. Thank you.
Thank you, Tusharji. Dignitaries on the dais, Madam Prajakta Verma ji, Commissioner Madam, and everyone present here. A warm welcome to this Textile Innovation Mela from UNEP side also. It is my absolute pleasure to be representing UNEP and talking to the industry stakeholders here with whom we have been working for past 1.5 years now. The event is one of the key outputs of the hard work that we have done in the Surat Textile Cluster, along with our implementation partner, CEE, Center for Environment Education, as well as the Chamber and the Association, SGCCI and SGTPI. I think it's the hard work of the local implementation team here that we've all culminated into this big event, the Innovation Mela. I must say that despite the roadblock presented to us by COVID-19 pandemic, so when we started the project, we were very much into the pandemic. And despite that roadblock, we've made significant progress on the development of this roadmap for a sustainable textile hub in for this Surat Textile Cluster. And this would not have been possible without the involvement of the industry, which shows their commitment and their interest towards this topic of sustainability. Globally and in India, UNEP textiles is one of the key areas of intervention for UNEP. We've been providing strategic leadership and encouraging sector-wide collaboration to accelerate and support a just transition towards a sustainable textile value chain. We've been doing this by a couple of things. I mean, the approach that we are taking is understanding the value chain itself, doing the hotspot assessment, like we've done in Surat Textile Cluster. We started with a hotspot assessment last year and consolidating the existing actions as well as identifying new opportunities like we are doing here today as part of this innovation Mela. And going forward, define a common agenda. We completed a global stock taking report way back in 2020, which is called the Sustainability and Circularity in Textile Value Chain, which provides an assessment, a global hotspot assessment of the textile value chain, and which also forms the basis of the work that we have done here in Surat. In addition to the roadmap that we are developing in Surat, we are also working on developing a global roadmap. And I'm very pleased to say that the roadmap in Surat is going to release before the roadmap, the global roadmap, which in itself is a big, so to say, commitment and a big development, a big achievement on part of the work that the cluster is doing here. Innovation and clean tech, as you know, are very relevant issues, especially for MSMEs. And the purpose of getting these innovators on board is precisely to do this kind of a matchmaking and provide a platform for industry and innovators to interact so that the problems that industry is facing can be addressed via the solutions that these innovators are providing. UNEP is also working on, so primarily the work that we are doing is divided in three components. We do policy advocacy, we do capacity building, and we also work on knowledge creation part. So in addition to the work that we are doing here in Surat with the National Institute of Fashion Technology, we are offering 1-year diploma program on sustainable fashion, and that program will be open for industry professionals also. So it will be in a hybrid mode. So any of you, if you would like to join that program, this program is going to be launched in January next year and will be offered across 17 NIFs. In addition, we are also now working with the Textile Committee of Ministry of Textile, and we'll be designing and developing a consumer-facing campaign on promoting sustainable fashion. As Karthik Bhai mentioned, I think we want to see Surat as the model for sustainability in the textile cluster, and not just the model for India, but for the world. And UNEP will be pleased to take this work forward and work with the industry here. And I'm sure with the support of industry, the roadmap that we have developed will be taken forward and we'll see some good results in near future. With this, thank you again, and looking forward to interacting with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Archana ji. Thank you for those motivational words. And yes, we do believe that the United Nations, a platform of that stature, a global platform, does recognize Surat Textile Cluster. You know, when this particular event was thought of, and when we were thinking of an outreach campaign, on the very third day, we were surprised to see that UNEP's global website had a citation on this. That shows the commitment of UNEP India office and its support to the textile industry. And I think that's a sign in itself that Surat has been noticed. Now Surat will have to keep up with the pace in achieving sustainability and the larger goals therein. Next, I would like to present a short PowerPoint which will take you across the journey that we have had, and which will tell you about the project that we have completed. Many of you may not be aware as to what this project was about. So very quickly, I'll take you through this series of slides. Can I have the next slide, please? Now, this study was conceived by United Nations Environment Program in conjunction with the Ministry of Textile way back in 2020, I suppose. And it was awarded to Center for Environment Education to do the study and come out with a roadmap which is implementable by the textile clusters of India. The objective of this study is to minimize the negative environmental and social impacts by promoting sustainable practices in the textile sector, mainstreaming knowledge and enabling actions on sustainable and cleaner production at textile industrial cluster. Now, these may sound as simple words or simple sentences, but it's very difficult to go through the whole gamut of of problems and its solutions involved. Now, if you look at a typical textile value chain, this is linear and a very famous diagram. This is once again from a UNEP report, which says how do you go from fiber to fashion. We, in our case, concentrated more in the middle, the sky blue and the light green or yellowish green part, which is weaving and production. Surat largely has these two sectors dominating the textile cluster, and we had concentrated our study around these two components. For the study, we conducted a baseline survey, and for which, as I said, we had selected weaving and processing stages. And primary and secondary research was carried out. Primary by being physically present here, conducting interviews, visiting factories, etc. And industry visits were performed to validate gaps that were identified. Now, our secondary study also indicated that there were lots of gaps, which we validated by personal visits to several industries or industrial zones, and came out with a list of gaps and hotspots that are present in Surat. We could culminate our entire study into 6 impact areas, which were air quality, water and chemical, energy efficiency, solid waste, solid textile waste, that is, social sustainability, transport and freight. Now, in order to institutionalize the whole study, what was needed was a structure to be given, because we can't do it in bits and pieces. We had to have a lot of stakeholders involved and make them responsible for what is being done and what needs to be done. So we sort of created a steering committee, which is essentially headed by virtue of its post, the Commissioner of Surat. The Commissioner of Surat heads this committee, the secretariat of which is Center for Environment Education, Ahmedabad. And under this steering committee, we had 6 working groups or 6 working committees. Committees on air quality, water and chemicals, etc., etc. These committees met time and again, brainstormed on our findings, came out with recommendations. So what all you will see in the report is not our brainchild. It is not something that we are dictating. It is something which has come from your side. And we have unanimously agreed after deliberations and discussions that yes, these are the interventions that need to be done or that can be undertaken. Now, the roadmap 2030, as we shortly call our report, has these goals. Now, we may not really take, or we may not have a possibility of undertaking each and every task therein, though they are required. So we, along with the working groups again, have shortlisted a few which can be easily targeted, which can be achieved in a short duration of time or maybe at least mid-term duration. And these also will be highlighted in our report. Next, please. So that is all about our project. Thank you. And for the Mela here today, when we were thinking of inviting innovators, quite a few of them are already in Surat today. We were not sure where to look for. We did not have access to the nooks and corners of India. So we invited 2 support partners, WRI and ISC. Happily, we have two representatives here from both the organizations. And I would like, and they've been functional in Surat as well. So I would like to invite Mr. Gaurav Tomar, Senior Program Research Associate from WRI, to give a bird's eye view of what is being done by their organization for the city of Surat, what kind of projects they've undertaken, and how beneficial it will be to not only the city, to the textile cluster as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good morning to all the dignitaries and everyone in attendance. WRI started working here in Surat under National Clean Air Program. And during the development of Surat Clean Air Action Plan, it was observed that industry is also a significant contributor to air pollution. So around 27% of PM 2.5 that was generated here from various sectors was coming from industrial sector. Thank you. So it is a well-established fact that textile industry is an energy extensive industry, and energy is the main cost to these industries. So when we talk about environment friendly solutions, these if we go about the theme of today's event, sustainability. So sustainability will only be achieved when the industries are profitable. Without profiting, industries can't be sustainable. So in current times of high fuel prices and global energy crisis, improving energy efficiency is not a luxury for industries, it's a necessity. So when working on reduction in air pollution, we observed that energy efficiency can be a very good tool to reduce air pollution as well as bring about sustainability in the industrial sector in Surat. So we are working closely with the SGTPA, and the first half we have been focusing on identification of areas that require energy efficient processes. Therefore, energy audits become a priority to assess the current status of energy uses in these industries. So there has been a conscious effort to understand these opportunities in Surat textile clusters. Energy audits has been carried out to gauge the opportunities that are there. Once these opportunities has been ascertained, certain mitigation measures, appropriate retrofit or process optimizations with economic viability can be introduced. SGTPA has been very proactive in accepting and discussing any opportunity on energy efficient interventions. Apart from these, there has been efforts toward capacity building of the industrial stakeholders, and efforts have been made by WRI India with SGTPA to impart necessary technical knowledge among the stakeholders that are working there on the ground. This proactive acceptance and understanding of industry and efforts toward environment friendly solutions makes me believe that today's event, this exhibition, and such future interventions will be a foundation stone for sustainable growth for the textile industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Gaurav. Now I would like to invite Mr. Zahid Sheikh from ISC, Institute of Sustainable Communities, and give us a brief about their presence and their work on sustainability in Surat.
Yes. Thank you, Tushar sir. Thank you, Shalini ma'am. Thank you, Prajakta ma'am, for this opportunity. I'm happy to represent ISC Institute for Sustainable Communities. We are implementing in Gujarat accelerating clean tech project and Surat, Ahmedabad, and Baroda, and this and textile, chemical, and automation. These sectors and these cities are in coverage of it. We believe that uh, innovation is a validation of human advancement. And in COP also, we have seen that just transition has been the main aspect, main agenda for like going ahead. So ISC, when we interacted with CE, I mean, we connected on the basis of this clean tech, clean fuel aggregation, the demand generation, the specification, how the demands of industries can be met with the solutions that are available. So it's not that the technologies are not present, technologies are there, but unfortunately we are living in an era of crisis where climate change is affecting businesses, climate change is affecting lives. My message for today as a representative of ISC is that there should be more collaboration between industries. There should be more openness for clean techs. We, as a research organization in a sustainable manufacturing sector, we believe that the manufacturing industry can very well adopt clean tech, green fuel, and help in reduction of GHG emission, which is the main reason we are experiencing the climate change effects. And we are also living in a solution dilemma where we need to act it very quickly. So I would just like to point few thankful notes for Steam House, who has been Steam House India, who has been as a community steam generation, was seen as a main technology provider, and they have been very innovative in their work. We have also been able to do some wonderful work in Tirupur cluster as a part of ACE manufacturing program, which is again a very big textile cluster. We have been able to work on solar pumps. We have been able to work on clean and green credit certification system there. And so the final message is to, like, we need to continue innovate, we need to continue collaborate, and we need to continue the reduction, the eventual mitigation efforts have to be made for the reduction of climate change effects. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zahir. Zahir has just set the platform for collaboration and innovation together for sustainability. On that note, I'm happy to announce that your own from Surat City, SVNIT, and Center for Environment Education, CEE, have recently signed an MOU to collaborate and do wonderful work on sustainable developments through the students fraternity of SVNIT. I would like to invite upon the stage Director of SVNIT, Shri Anupam Shuklaji, and Director CEE, Shri Kartikeya Sarabhai, to exchange the MOUs and mark their presence here on this platform as collaborators for future research in the field of sustainable developments using the technical background of the institution. Let's give a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. This, I would say, is a memorable day in the history of both the institutions and organization, wherein we look forward to more collaborative research work that eventually would also impact and affect the textile industry. Thank you, sirs. Thank you very much. When we had been working for all these 18 years, These pictures will also be more memorable because of the witnesses in front of whom you have exchanged the MOUs. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Shukla. Thank you, Karthikeya sir. Yeah, as I was saying, when we had been working all these 18 months in Surat, we were not alone. When I say we were not alone, we had support partners. Partners that supported our project because we are alien to the city, and to get into any industry and to befriend them and get information and data, etc., is a difficult task. But we had blessings in terms of having South Gujarat Textile Processors Association, SGTPA, and its president Jitendra Vakharia sir, and the Southern Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industry as our project partner. I would like to invite Shri Vakharia sahib to give a few words, to give his experience about our collaboration with the association, and also to give his vision of sustainable textile scenario in Surat. He has been known to the fraternity as a staunch supporter of innovation and sustainable developments. So आज उन्हीं की जबानी हम सुनते हैं कि वो क्या चाहते हैं सूरत से, सूरत की टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री से, और वो क्या करना चाहते हैं और दूसरों के पास से क्या चाहते हैं. जितेंद्र साहब.
Good morning, everybody. It is a very proud moment for me that Prajakta ma'am, in front of such a dignitaries like Prajakta ma'am, Salini madam, Kartikeya Sarabhai, Himanshu bhai Bodawala, Asna Datta ji, Bipan Kohli ji, Anupam Shukla ji, और हमारे एक्स प्रेसिडेंट आशीष गुजराती जी, और हमारे जो जीपीसीबी के यहाँ पे आरओ है जिग्ना मैम, इन सब के सामने मुझे आज जो तुषार भाई ने कहा कि मैं थोड़ी बात करूंगा, तो आज मैं जब सोचता हूं कि सस्टेनेबल ग्रोथ, तो जब अग्रवाल मैडम हमें मिले पहले, तब मुझे याद आया कि भाई मैंने तो ये 2012 से सोचना चालू कर दिया था. 2014 के अंदर हमने भारत के अंदर पहली बार टर्सरी पानी को हम रिसाइकल करके इंडस्ट्री में हमने सक्सेसफुली न चालू किया, बल्कि जो हमारी रिक्वायरमेंट थी 80 mld, तो हमने दूसरा एक एग्रीमेंट करके 80 mld आज जीआईडीसी पांडेसरा को, जो बेसिक 3 नेसेसिटी है कि एक तो पानी चाहिए, पावर चाहिए और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर चाहिए. पानी सूरत म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन की वजह से हमें 1999 से मिल रहा है, और उसमें कॉर्पोरेशन ने भी अच्छा पैसा कमाया और हमने भी इंडस्ट्री चल के पैसा तो कमाया, लेकिन जो हमारी सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है वो भी साथ में हम समझने लगे. तो हमने 2012 से लेके जो हमारी जर्नी चालू हुई थी सस्टेनेबल ग्रोथ थी, 2019 में हम 2012 से एक दूसरा एक कुछ MOEF में से एक मैसेज आया था कि इंडिया के अंदर जैसे वर्ल्ड में कार्बन ट्रेडिंग होती है, वैसे इंडिया के अंदर सॉलिड फ्यूल का कंजम्पशन ज़्यादा है, तो वहाँ पे जो एमिशन हो रहा है और इतनी सारी इंडस्ट्री लगी हुई है, उसमें से जो धुआं निकलता है और उसमें से जो पर्टिकुलर मैटर निकलते हैं, तो उसके ऊपर अगर हम एमिशन ट्रेडिंग करें, नहीं कि हम कार्बन ट्रेडिंग करें, तो 2012 में ऐसा एक मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एनवायरनमेंट की तरफ से हमारे ऊपर आया था. उस वक्त में MOEF में से डॉक्टर साहा करके आए थे, मुझे आज भी उनका नाम याद है. तो 2012 में ये हुआ कि भाई ये पूरे भारत में 3 स्टेट नक्की हुए, गुजरात, महाराष्ट्र और तमिलनाडु. गुजरात में भी 2 सिटी नक्की हुई थी, एक अहमदाबाद और एक सूरत. और आज मेरे जितने भी मेंबर्स है सूरत के इंडस्ट्री के, चाहे वो डाइस केमिकल है या शुगर फैक्ट्री है या जो भी है, जो भी एमिशन जो निकालते हैं, उन सबको सहकार से हमने 2019 में एक ऐसा कदम रखा हमने कि वो पूरी दुनिया ने उसका नोट लिया. अभी इजिप्ट में एक इंटरनेशनल एनवायरनमेंट के ऊपर कॉन्फ्रेंस हो रहा है, उसमें भी जो हमने एमिशन ट्रेडिंग सिस्टम चालू किया वो 2019 में, तो उसका भी वहाँ पे स्पेशली उसका प्रेजेंटेशन हुआ है। वो वहाँ प्रेजेंट होने के बाद मेरे पास भी उसका रिपोर्ट आया, तो मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा। ये जो हमने एमिशन ट्रेडिंग सिस्टम चालू किया, हम लोग सूरत से चालू करने वाले थे, लेकिन हमारे ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर नरेंद्र मोदी जी है, जैसे उन्होंने कहा कि बहुत एनर्जी है, लेकिन मैं एनर्जी कैसे काम करना चाहिए इनकी तरफ से मेरे को थोड़ा इनको देख के मैं अपने आप में अच्छा महसूस करता हूँ। तो उनका मैसेज आया कि भाई आप ये एमिशन ट्रेडिंग सिस्टम सूरत से क्यों चालू करते हो? आप केवड़िया कॉलोनी इतनी अच्छी हिस्टोरिकल प्लेस है, तो आप वहां जाके चालू कीजिए। तो उसके लिए जो हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए थे शिकागो यूनिवर्सिटी के, येल यूनिवर्सिटी के, MOEF से, GPCB गांधीनगर से, सब लोग हम लोग ने तय किया कि भाई उनकी इच्छा है तो हम केवड़िया कॉलोनी से ही चालू करेंगे। 16 अक्टूबर नवंबर, एग्जैक्ट मुझे डेट मालूम नहीं है, एक मिनट, 16 नवंबर में हमने यहाँ से वो चालू किया था केवड़िया कॉलोनी से। और इत्तेफाक से एक बहुत बड़ा 17 दिसंबर का दिन है कि जिसे दिन हमारे ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर का वो बर्थडे था। तो सेकंड डे जब हम सूरत आए और सूरत में हमने पूरे नेशनल के मीडिया वाले आए, तब मैंने बोला कि आप क्या करते थे? मैंने एक ही बात बोला कि आज हमारे ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर है, जिसके लिए मैं नहीं पूरी भारतवर्ष, आज पूरी दुनिया में उसका एक वो एक वेटेज है, एक इमेज है। तो हमारी जो एमिशन ट्रेडिंग सिस्टम थी, मैंने उनको बर्थडे के रूप में मैंने उनको समर्पित किया और ये मैसेज दिया कि भी इनकी वजह से और इनके लिए ही ये सब हुआ है। तो सस्टेनेबल ग्रोथ का मैंने जो मेरे से हो गया है, चाहे इंटेंशनली हुआ है या नाराज होकर के या इधर उधर बोल के भी, लेकिन आज वो सक्सेस हुआ है। और दूसरी बात ये है कि हमने कॉरपोरेशन के साथ भी, मेरा इंडस्ट्री GIDC पांडेसरा में है, मैं पांडेसरा में हम सब उद्योग चलाते हैं, हमारा पांडेसरा एसोसिएशन भी है। तो उसके अंदर भी हमने, जैसे हमको 3 चीज चाहिए, पानी चाहिए, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर चाहिए और पावर चाहिए। पानी तो हमने कॉरपोरेशन से 1999 से ले लिया था। जब हमारा रोड GIDC के अंदर में था, तब रोड की हालत क्या थी, मैं आज महसूस करूंगा तो आप लोग हंसेंगे। हमारे लिए जो कोलसा का ट्रक है ना, वो कहीं दूर रखना पड़ता था। और पहले एक सिस्टम था कि कंस्ट्रक्शन होता है, वहां पे गड्ढे रखते थे, तो हमारा कोलसा उनके ऊपर डाल के हम फैक्ट्री में लाते थे, ऐसा हमारा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर था। एक दिन हमने सोचा कि इसको भी अच्छा करना है। उस समय में MK दास साहब थे, हम म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन के अंडर में थे, और उसके पहले अपर्णा मैडम थे। उन्होंने पूरा 56 करोड़ का बजट निकाला और 65-35 का जो रेशियो है वैसे बात किया। लेकिन हम लोग ने स्टडी किया कि भाई ये सूरत का पैसा सूरत में रहने दो, अगर कॉर्पोरेशन का पैसा हमारा पैसा है तो किसी और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में डेवलप करेंगे। हमने बहुत सारे ऐसे, हमने जो उस टाइम में जो इंसेंटिव मिलते थे या जो सब्सिडीज थी, हमने करीब 100 करोड़ रुपए का खर्चा किया, उसमें अंडरग्राउंड इलेक्ट्रिफिकेशन किया, सीमेंट कॉन्क्रीट रोड किया उसके अंदर। और उसके लिए जो खर्च था करीब 12.5-13 करोड़ हमने GIDC पांडेसरा की इंडस्ट्री ने लिया, और जो बाकी का खर्च था वो करीब इतना ही 12-13 करोड़ सूरत म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन ने किया। और आज 100 करोड़ का, आज समझो कि 6-7 साल ऊपर हो गए, अभी भी रोड की हालत और ये जो भी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर रखा हुआ है, उस समय में GAB ओवरहेड लाइन थी, हमने अंडरग्राउंड लाइन करवाई, ताकि क्या है कि हमारा इंडस्ट्रियल एस्टेट में जो प्रॉब्लम आता है उसका सॉल्यूशन कैसे होना चाहिए, वो हमने एक अच्छी तरह से अब पूरा किया हुआ है। और ये कुछ भी किया हुआ है उसमें मुझे हर एक का सहयोग है। मेरे मेंबर जो है, मेरे जो साथी है, इन्हीं की, उनका जो मुझे साथ सरकार मिला, और मेरा एसोसिएशन का जो स्टाफ है, SGPT का या पांडेसरा एसोसिएशन का स्टाफ है, उनकी वजह से हम ये आज सब कुछ कर सके हैं। और जैसे तुषार जी ने बताया कि भाई हम, तो उस दिन से एक कॉन्फिडेंस आया मेरे में। कॉन्फिडेंस ये आया कि कोई भी चीज पॉसिबल है, करो, लेकिन स्टार्ट करो। तो हम लोग स्टार्ट करते गए। अभी लेटेस्ट में हमने ये SVNIT जो इंस्टीट्यूट है, उसमें एक CERC करके हमने एक संस्था बनाया, जो ऑलवेज को भी वर्ल्ड के अंदर या भारत के अंदर जो भी एनवायरमेंट रिलेटेड ये होती है, तो हम उसका हम एक्सपेरिमेंट करते हैं, एक इंडस्ट्री में लगाते हैं, चाहे 15, 20, 25 लाख का खर्चा आवे, तो अभी हम लोग करते हैं, क्योंकि ट्रायल एंड एरर से ही कोई चीज, कोई प्रोवन चीज नहीं है। इंडस्ट्री में हम पहले एक्सपेरिमेंट करते हैं, जैसे सैंपल निकालते हैं, वैसा हम लोग ने ये किया। और आज ये दिन जो मैंने बोला, मेरे प्राउड मोमेंट है कि इन सभी डिग्निटी के और खास करके कार्तिकेय साराभाई, इनका नाम ही बहुत मोटा है। तो इन सब के सामने मुझे जो बोलने का मौका मिला हुआ है और मेरा विचार प्रकट करने का, इसके लिए मैं इन सब लोग का खूब आभारी हूँ। खास करके जो सीईई है उनका आभारी हूँ, और आप सब लोग का भी इतना ही आभारी हूँ। धन्यवाद। भारत माता की जय।
थैंक यू वेरी मच वकारा साहब। सर जब बोलते हैं तब दिल से बोलते हैं, और इनका दिल बहुत बड़ा है, इसलिए कुछ ज्यादा ही बोल जाते हैं, तो उनको पकड़ के रखना तकलीफदायक है। पर आज एक मौका है जब हम जानना चाहते थे कि उनके क्या अचीवमेंट्स है। कुछ एक लोग बाहर से आए हैं, उनके लिए दिस इज अ पीस ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन, एंड दोस अचीवमेंट्स आर नॉट स्मॉल, बिलीव मी। As a cluster or as an industry zone, what Pandesara has achieved is noteworthy and it's been taken note of. आज हम यहाँ जहाँ इकट्ठे हुए हैं, thanks to STCCI that they have created such an infrastructure, and Southern Gujarat Chamber of Commerce has always been very active. अलग-अलग क्षेत्रों में काफी काम करते हैं, काफी पहुंच है इनकी, काफी हौस भी है इनकी, और काफी उम्मीदें हैं इनसे। अब हम सुनना चाहेंगे फ्रॉम द प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ STCCI, Mr. Budawala, to come to the podium and share his vision for a sustainable Surat through the chamber. Thank you.
Good morning, friends. Esteemed dignitaries on the dais, Srimati Prajakta Vermaji, IAS Joint Secretary, Ministry of Textile, Government of India. Srimati Saliniji Agrawalji, Commissioner, SMC. Sri Kartikeya Sarabhai, Director, CE, Ahmedabad. Ms. Archana Dattaji, Assistant Program Officer from UNEP. Mr. Vipin Kohliji, Joint Textile Commissioner, Ministry of Textiles. Mr. Jitendra Vakharia, President, South Gujarat Textile Processors Association. Sri Tushar Jani, Senior Program Director, CE. Jigna Madam from GPCB, past President of Chamber, Ashish Bhai Gujarati, all past President of Chamber, and other dignitaries from the Government of India, UNEP, CE, WRI, ISC, and invited guests and industry participants. I am thankful to the CE for organizing Textile Innovation Mela, such a wonderful program at our doorstep. I extend my warm greetings to United Nations Environment Program and Ministry of Textile, Government of India for listing Surat Textile Cluster across India for first ever study on sustainability in the textile sector. I think we have a round of applause for that they have selected Surat for this project. In general parlance, sustainability means avoidance of the depletion of natural resources in order to maintain an ecology balance. Surat has acquired a unique status as being one the world's fastest growing city in terms of population as well as economic growth. This rise in population and economic activity sometimes put enormous pressure on the local ecology. Therefore, in order to protect the future of this city, it is imperative for all of us to develop sustainable goals on which we can continue our growth story. Surat today is the largest MMF textile cluster of India. Within this MMF segment, if we speak about polyester and nylon, then both of these products are manufactured for petroleum product only. And because of its unsynthetic nature, when such products are discarded, it takes years and years to be auto-biodegraded. At the same time, Surat Textile Cluster one of the oldest in the country, with polyester being manufactured in Surat since 1950. Surat has been one of the pioneer districts to produce polyester globally, and therefore has vast number of factories using older technologies of production, which sometimes may not be sustainable. There is a constant need of energy to convert this petroleum product into usable fabric and garments. Besides, the process also needs many conversion process which uses water, chemical, electricity and heat. When all these processes are running simultaneously, we are bound to generate greenhouse gases, air pollution, water pollution, and land pollution. At present, the AQI index of Surat shows around 4.2 times of PM 2.5 particulates in air than what is permissible as per the WHO air quality index. Present study undertaken by the CEE has concluded that release of PM10 is one of the highest in Surat and is the major cause to contribute air pollution. Therefore, the time has come to adopt manufacturing practices which lowers the load on environmental resources as well as stop their pollution. At this juncture, on behalf of the industry of Surat, we vow to, number one, increase green energy in our production process. We reuse heat generated from alternative usage. Reduce the air pollution on account of burning coal and other fossil fuels in the production process. We'll reprocess all the waste generated into easily disposable or reusable product till its last possible conversion. Reduce uses of water in the production of process or to ensure that zero liquid discharge system be adopted in all the production process which requires water to be used. India, home to 1.3 billion people, is undertaking these adorous efforts to ensure sustainability development goal. Despite the reality that our contribution to the world's cumulative emission is so far is less than 4%, and our annual per capita emission are about 1/3 of the global average. Our Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji announced India's aim of achieving zero emission by 2070 in Glasgow. Within 1 year, India has submitted its long-term low emission growth strategy indicating low carbon transmission pathway in key economic sectors. We have embarked on far-reaching new initiatives in renewable energy, e-mobility, ethanol, blended fuels, and green hydrogen as an alternative energy sources. India has renewed its renewable energy target to 500 gigawatt by 2030, has increased mandatory mixing of 20% of ethanol in petrol, has come out with mandatory mixing of green hydrogen and green ammonia through green hydrogen policy, has been aggressively pursuing adoption of electrical vehicles. Surat is now India's #1 city in installation of rooftop solar. It is the first city to have come out with its own independent EV policy. I am sure with implementation of the suggestions made in the report prepared by CEE, the green footprints of Surat is likely to be among the top, at least in India. With this, I request all the textile entrepreneurs to adopt greener technology in their manufacturing practices. At this forum, since UNEP is part of this program, I further request the officials of UN to kindly pursue the multilateral finance organization like IMF and World Bank to increase the financial aid to developing countries like India in the domain of green finance. And to the Textile Ministry, I hereby request to come out with a complete textile sustainable policy, which will incentivize units incorporating green manufacturing practices. With this, I extend my warm greetings to the organizers for organizing such a wonderful program in Surat. And I assure you all that Chamber will consistently use its influence in furthering the cause of sustainability in the Surat textile cluster. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Shubhai. Thank you for those words of assurance of taking forward the journey of sustainability in Surat through the efforts of Chamber. The next speaker that we would have is representing once again textile segment from the public sector. We have Mr. Vipan Kohli from the Commissionerate in Mumbai, wherein we had invited Roop Rashiji, the Textile Commissioner of India, who last week was in Delhi attending a similar program on technical textiles. And she very much wanted to be here today and give her remarks. But she incidentally was given a mandate by the ministry that there will be a few visitors from Jaipur cluster, and she could not avoid. So she was kind enough to nominate Mr. Kohli's name, and Mr. Kohli also could travel at a very short notice. So thank you, sir. Could we have a few words of advice from your side? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jani. And I first of all welcome our Joint Secretary, Srimati Priyakta Verma, and Shri Shalini IAS, Commissioner Municipal Corporation, and the other dignitaries sitting on the dais. I also welcome all the participants who are present in this program. First of all, as you know, that textile industry is a very vast industry. It has global importance, providing high level of employment and foreign exchange revenue and products essential in human welfare. The world is producing and consuming more textiles than even before, and the current very low reuse and recycle items and going at a very low pace. That more textiles are also being thrown away than ever before. Because with the increase of fashion, people are throwing textiles rather than they are reusing or recycling. This requires even more land, water, and fossil fuels, and lead to increasing pollution of the air, water, and soil. However, addressing the sustainable and circularity is such a globally diverse industry, a specific feature of which is marked for power symmetry between the supplies and global buyers and the large number of small and medium sized players operation in tight margin present in particular set of challenges. Textile and apparel industry generate environmental harm at all the stages of production, from raw material to cultivation to disposal of finished goods. Large amount of chemical loads, high amount of water uses, high energy consumption, and its emission of waste and color formation on the major environmental challenges in the textile industry. Now, various actions are required in fiber production also. The production of natural fiber is a particular hotspot in terms of ecosystem and water scarcity impact, especially cotton, with its high use of water, land, and agrochemicals. Government regulations against the use of toxic substances and harmful labor practices and better environment and designation protecting workers' right and environment. Further standardization and research is also going on. The sustainability, environment, water uses, and other items. Use of fossil fuels in the production of synthetic fiber is another problem. and the potential of natural fiber such as jute, coir, flax, sisal, hemp, silk, wool, Kashmiri, etc., can reduce the this kind of fossil use. There should be another alternate to be looked out to take the man-made fiber production through the energy sector. The traceability among the composition of fibers and chemical content material of recycling is also a critical matter. Therefore, a set of information about the components and material should be contained in a product. Now, various actions to be taken regarding fiber and fabric production. There should be more wearable fibers to be taken along with the non-woven fibers. Action in textile processing is also very important area where sustainability can be maintained through less uses of water, ETP, and ZLD like processes. Apart from this, there is supply and demand increases in the sustainability processes. A move toward more eco-friendly material is another important development in the textile market. People are looking for greener products because of rising climate change worries. Because of this, the textile business has been adopting eco-friendly and practices in the other retained resources and the customers. The textile businesses employs various methods to attain more environmentally friendly processes and procedures. One of the most important noteworthy ways in the textile industry that has updated the sustainability is through the use of renewable materials such as the creation of clothing that is easy recyclable. Many businesses, for instance, now consider textile manufacturing a circular rather than linear process. Part of the shift in the perspective is an increased focus in the making products from natural renewable resources. That way, buyers can get multiple uses of the textiles rather than just one. The extra carbon dioxide, if you release into the air, stays that for a long time, warming the earth very gradually. Most important mills ship their goods through airplane, contributing significantly to the atmospheric carbon dioxide levels. Some businesses opt for greener modes of transportation, such as shipping goods over long distances. The textile industry, we expect continued customer pressure for more eco-friendly fashion as time goes on. Businesses that take their request seriously will gain customer goodwill and maybe additional sales. So this is the main aspects where we have to look for reuse the water, reuse the textile material, fibers, etc. for more sustainability, which is the demand of the time. Thank you very much, and I wish all the best for this program and taking new methods, new researches, what we have achieved so far in the sustainability and the issues of various resources. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kohli. Thank you for that elaborative overview. Next in the series, we have our own municipal commissioner. In spite of having physical difficulty, she managed to come to us and be with us for the day. I wasn't really sure because she was traveling and till the day before she was not around. But thank you, ma'am, for giving us the assurance of your presence. And now I would request you to address the gathering. Yeah. Should I get you the mic? Thank you.
प्रजक्ता वर्मा मैम, कार्तिकेय भाई, सारा भाई, हिमांशु भाई, जितेंद्र भाई, विपिन जी, अपर्णा जी, अर्चना जी, all the dignitaries present here, ladies and gentlemen. There are very few occasions when we talk about sustainability and business together. And I think that this is one of those rare occasions where today we are talking about sustainability and economy. I am privileged that within a week, this is my second event where I am talking about sustainability. Last week, I was in Barcelona, Spain. I was nominated by Government of India to represent Government of Gujarat for smart city initiatives in Barcelona. There was an international conference. And I am happy that there also I talk about sustainability, climate, smart city initiatives in India. And within a week, today, I have got this opportunity to speak again about sustainability. In my mind, sustainability is about ecology. There are 3 E's into it: ecology, economy, and equity. If we think that economy is more important than ecology, then please pause and hold your breath while you count your money. Is it possible? Environment-friendly actions must be a challenge to put into practice in business. But still, all over the world, now companies are getting cautious about their environment and about their environment-friendly initiatives. And I am proud to be part of Surat team, because Surat is not only leading in India, but internationally in environment-friendly initiatives. And I must congratulate industries and businesses of Surat to take initiatives like emission trading, like reuse and recycle of wastewater, like community boiler initiatives, which are leading way for the whole country and for the whole world. So congratulations that your paper has been mentioned in COP27 in Egypt. Sustainability is not about protecting the environment. I think we should create a world where environment does not need any kind of protection. And United Nations, UNEP is here. United Nations has very clearly demonstrated in its Sustainable Development Goals, goal number 13, 14, and 15. 13 is about climate action, 14 is about life below Earth, and 15 is about life above Earth. And it has beautifully synthesized that development and actions related to mitigation of climate change should go in hand, and we should protect and conserve the natural resources of the world. I think we are not above the nature. We are part of the nature. Science is not conquering the nature. It is about how to live in the nature. And somehow, in the process of development, we have forgotten these 2 aspects. When we talk about environment, when we talk about earth, we do not inherit it from our ancestors. It is said that we borrow earth and environment from our children. So when we have borrowed something, we have to return it back through loan and interest. And then it's a moral responsibility that we have to be very cautious about environment. We don't want giant or huge heroic actions about environment. We want very small steps, but taken by millions and billions of people, which when are multiplied would transform the world. Small steps like don't litter. It makes the world bitter. Small steps like don't throw food. You're actually stealing away food from the table of poor and hungry people. Plant more trees. I wonder that if trees would have given Wi-Fi signals, we would have planted more trees. But we don't care that trees are giving oxygen to breathe. And I am happy that Surat is a green city in India. It has more than 200 parks. It has a natural park. And one big project, a biodiversity project, is under implementation by SMC, where 87 acre of land will be converted into biodiversity. Also, I'm happy to share that Surat has taken lead in the whole country to develop roads on PPP mode, like Surat Dumas Road, like Canal Road, Banyan Road is there, where you will find the synthesis of concrete with green spaces, with child-friendly spaces, with senior citizens-friendly spaces and people in general. And lots of green cover has been emerging over the past few years in Surat. We must appreciate 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. And I think that if we do this, nothing will be waste. Everything will be converted into a useful project and their product, and that will lead to zero waste management. The way plastics is being used, we have to be careful, otherwise that plastic will be a recipe for our grandchildren's diet. And I'm happy to share that Surat Municipal Corporation is leading in plastic waste management in the whole country. We have 3 ways of plastic management, wherein one way, plastic is being used in the construction of roads. Last year, 22 kilometers of roads was being constructed by the use of plastics. Secondly, every day, 20 metric tons of pallets of plastics are being used for manufacturing different kinds of items like chairs, tables, etc. And I must congratulate textile sectors that they have partnered with Surat Municipal Corporation, where plastic is going into kind of a fabric, again, which is used for textiles. So lots of good work is being done in management of plastics, in management of C&D waste. The whole C&D waste is being converted into construction of roads, or different kinds of activities are being taken by that. Next small step, conserve and preserve water. Water is going to be a scarce commodity. It's going to be more valuable than gold and diamond in coming future generations. Everybody is consumer of water, but I think then everybody can contribute in preservation of water by simply one initiative, that please have rainwater harvesting structures in your premises, whether it's a house or it's a business. I'm happy that I was part of Vadodara team as a collector, and within 6 months, we developed a technology, cost-effective technology for rainwater harvesting, and within 6 months, all 1,000 schools of Vadodara district were having, and we implemented this project in 6 months, where rainwater harvesting structures were installed in all the schools through participation of school management committees. And every year around 10 crore liter of water is being harvested. That is equivalent to providing drinking water to 2.5 lakh children for 5 years. Vadodara became the first district in the country to have rainwater harvesting structures in all the schools, and Honorable Prime Minister mentioned this initiative in Mann Ki Baat. But that was a very small initiative which we started. but within 6 months, it had huge impact on water conservation and preservation. I would urgently request that please install rainwater harvesting structures wherever you are. Jitendra Bhai was very passionately talking about reuse and recycle of water, and also was very passionately talking about his narazgi also. I don't know about his narazgi, but later on we will talk about it. But I proudly say that Surat Municipal Corporation initiated this action in 2014 and before that, where tertiary treated water was being sold to textile industries. And I must congratulate textile industries that because of you, now government of Gujarat has a water policy where in coming years, every industry will have to take the water which is being recycled and reused from the wastewater. Surat Municipal Corporation at present is reusing and recycling 30% of its treated wastewater. Every day, 115 million liter per day is being sold to industries, mainly to textile industries and also to power generating industries. And Surat has got an innovative way of revenue generation, which Jitendra Bhai was also talking about. 140 crore rupees revenue is being earned by SMC every year. We have a plan that by 2030, this 30% will reach up to 70%. And by 2050, SMC will be using 100% of treated wastewater as recycle and reuse. Our 829 MLD projects are under implementation, which will be completed within 1 year. And Surat is going to be a much larger city, not only in the country, but internationally, where they will be selling water to industries in a big way. When we talk about sustainability, we cannot forget green energy. Green energy is our future. I am again happy to share that Surat Municipal Corporation produces 28% of its consumption, of its energy consumption from green energy. And I've never heard a corporation investing in another city or another district, but Surat Municipal Corporation has taken lead where they have invested in windmill projects in Kutch district of Gujarat. And from there, 38.7 megawatt of wind energy is being produced. We have invested in wind energy, and that plan is going to be longer now and larger now, and will be investing more money into wind energy in other parts of the Kutch. 7 megawatt in solar and 6 megawatt in waste to energy. So fossil fuel, I think the replacement is here. We can convert our waste to energy. And all these put together, so far, the electricity units which have been generated by these green initiatives is to the tune of 400 crore rupees. So you may think that how much of electricity is being produced through green energy, and all those fossil fuels are being gradually replaced. Within 2 years, we have a plan that this 28% of our consumption, we will be reaching to 33% of our consumption that will be meted out through green energy. Surat can take proud that it is known as Solar City in India. The Ministry of Renewable Energy has declared Surat as Solar City of India, and 250 megawatt is being produced through various initiatives, putting solars in public spaces, in government buildings, in infrastructure projects, and in power plants, and where it has become the highest generating city in the country. Also, when we talk about sustainability, we have to focus on e-mobility. Recently, when I was in Barcelona, I was happy to see that there you will find thousands of pedestrians. They love to walk, and I think that is why they are physically fit even in the age of 80s or 90s. And 80s or 90s, I can see lots of people who were freely roaming around the different tourist places. There also, I found lots of people who were bicycling, who were using hoverboards, who were using segways. And I think that Surat is again, recently Prime Minister Sir was here in a public program before the elections, and he declared that Surat is going to be the e-vehicle city of the country, because we have already launched an e-vehicle policy where we are giving 100% exemption from the tax if you buy e-vehicle after the launch of policy, 50% exemption within the 1 year the policy was announced, and 25% of exemption in the tax if the vehicle was bought before or 2 years or before that. Also, Surat has already procured 110 e-buses, and which is going to be 500 e-buses in short time. 50 charging stations are planned, out of which 25 are already implemented. And all the diesel buses of Surat will be replaced by e-buses by 2030. We have a huge and longest network of BRTS in the state. The city bus service has been functional much older than it was implemented in the another cities of Gujarat. And also, bicycle sharing is going on a big way in Surat. You can see lots of docks. We have more than 1,800 docks. There are more than 120 stations and more than 1,200 bicycles which are installed in the public places which people can use freely. And I'm happy to share that the coverage of non-motorized transport in Surat, that includes pedestrian and bicycle, is 18%, and that's a huge number compared to other cities. But in future, this 18% will go up to 25%. And therefore, Surat is not leading by its opinion. Surat is leading by its examples. And I am really proud to be part of this team where all of you have proved that sustainability is not only a way of life, but it is a way of business. Looking forward to seeing more initiatives in sustainability, and let's come together and change the world, and let's see the world that Surat can lead in the world as diamond and textile city, not only as a diamond and textile city, but as a sustainable city also in the world, and where economy and ecology, they tend to develop together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for sharing the achievements of the city and giving us wonderful pieces of advice. Now, we have been very patiently and eagerly waiting for the chief guest address. May I request Prajakta ma'am to take us to the journey of sustainability as the ministry sees, and invite her on the podium to address us. Prajakta ma'am.
So dear Shalini, Surat Municipal Commissioner, who gave us a very good overview of what all Surat is doing in this quest for sustainability. Karthik Sarabhai, who is spearheading the initiative for a sustainable textile hub, along with UNEP, Archana. All the dignitaries who are present, Jitendra Vakharia ji, who also gets very emotional. I had experience in the one of the earlier online sessions. I think on 7th of October on the World Cotton Day, we had invited you for your views. So I'm glad to meet him again. Bodawala ji, who also mentioned about his expectations from the ministry. All the dignitaries, and of course the Textile Commissioner's representative Vipin, who also handles the sustainability vertical in his commissionerate. The the audience, especially all the members of the various organizations who are doing their bit in the sustainable textiles field, and all the representatives from the Innovation Mela who have displayed their innovations. I'm really glad to be here, not just because this is one of the sessions on dialogue between the industry and between the ministry and the various implementing organizations, but also because here for the first time I see a confluence of not just ideas, but also of the various solutions that are present within all of us, and how we can actually match and share our strengths and understand our opportunities, our challenges, and also understand what we have in store. So I'm glad to be part of this session, which showcases the various innovations that our young minds have actually brought before us. And it's a great opportunity for the industry stakeholders to actually see this and try and take it forward. Basically, in the Ministry of Textiles, when I joined, I was given the section for fiber, and I was very happy to be dealing with cotton, jute, wool, and I always thought that these are sustainable natural fibers, and they are. But when I was given the vertical of sustainability, I realized that cotton, it takes about 2,700 liters of water to make one t-shirt. Cotton is a very thirsty crop, and the entire process to make one t-shirt. And I believe that all over the world, about 2 billion t-shirts are produced every year for catering to the consumption. So then I realized that sustainability is not just about biodegradability, it's also about what inputs we give, how clean the inputs are, how resource efficiently we do the process. How do we actually take care of the workers and how they are not exposed to hazardous substances, and also end of life, how do we consume it? Do we really consume clothes as a durable product or as a disposable item? So I think there's a lot of behavior behind this and a lot of mindset values. I remember that in my childhood, when we dealt with clothes, it was something which was seen as a very durable product, and which we carried on and we gave it to our cousins and to the next generations. It went on. Vis-a-vis now the rapid change in the mindset, where we see it more as a disposable item, and we find increasingly statistics showing that the more prosperous the countries, progresses, the lesser is the cloth utilization. So we find a very inverse relationship. Maybe the production has increased, but the utilization, the number of clothes in our wardrobe, which don't see the light of the day, which are still stacked, they are increasing. So the lifestyle, the attitude towards clothing has also seen a drastic change. We must say that we are much more sustainable in our behavior patterns than many other countries. And we have also like Karthik Sarabhai was telling me how he has documented all these practices which are sustainable. And the LIFE project, which was announced by Honorable Prime Minister Sir, also documented these, and he also spoke about how we need to actually focus on the lifestyle so that we bring about a behavioral change in our attitude towards sustainability. I would go back to my experience in sanitation, where we did a lot of behavior advocacy. And I found that most of the change which came really did not cost much money. I mean, my firm belief is that, the most sustainable practices really do not, at least at the behavioral and the lifestyle level, do not really need much money. It just needs collaboration, bringing together our strengths and utilizing it together. So unprecedented collaboration. I use the word unprecedented with a lot of thought. So sustainability will require a lot of collaboration. And I think Surat in that way is one of the beacons, which is telling us that this is the way forward. I'm happy to be here again. In fact, I had been here I've just joined it 6 months back, but in the 6 months, I have been here twice. So I'm happy to be here. And I'm also happy that we selected Surat as the cluster for beginning our journey towards creating a sustainable textile hub. And I think a cluster level interventions, cluster level understanding of the challenges, because each cluster is different. Each cluster has a history. They have worked also in their own way, like when the Surat Municipal Commission was talking about what all Surat has done. So all this adds up when we try and talk about this. This is not really a new thing for Surat, but whatever they have actually been doing for so many years is now adding up to help them come up to this 2030 vision. So, and I'm really keenly awaiting the report, because this will also give us fresh inputs on what really we need to do for the other clusters, how we can take it forward. In fact, when I took over the sustainability vertical, I'm very grateful to earlier Secretary Upendra Prasad Singh, who gave me this vertical. And I realized that when I joined and when I started interacting, many organizations, many think tank organizations also were conversing with me, and they really wanted to connect to the ministry and have a dialogue. And there were a lot of things happening in this space. So I realized that what I must do is to bring all of us together. So we had a sustainability theme on the 7th of October, where we tried to call all those from the not-for-profit organizations, NGOs, non-governmental space, even from the governmental actors. We have a MOU with GIZ for Clean Cotton Initiative. So we called all these stakeholders and tried to come together and understand as to where we want to go. Of course, there are multiple voices in this direction. There are so many elements to this entire sustainability journey that focusing just on one particular aspect, but not really at the ministry level, creating a policy or creating a regulatory framework might not really be the best way forward, according to me, because whenever we think about environment, the first thing which I think comes up in everybody's mind is a green cop, you know. So I had a batchmate in Pollution Control Board, and I remember I asked him that, what is the major part of your work? And he was telling me the major part of my work is to attend court matters. So that's the nature of regulatory regime, which is, of course, important. We cannot do without it, but that is not necessarily the only way we can go about. Now, the Ministry of Environment has its own frameworks. We have the resource efficiency framework. For the first time, the plastic waste has now come under the EPR, the Extended Producer Responsibility Framework, which is a big step forward. I think that in textiles, only France has really adopted this EPR framework, but we are not far away from these frameworks coming into our industry and complying with them. Like the plastic waste and the electronic waste, a lot of awareness has now to be generated on the textile waste. I was happy to see some of the stalls on material recycling and how they are collecting the waste. And I'm really keen to understand how to really scale it up, because it's a household level collection, sorting out, collecting, sorting out, segregating, and then actually segregating in a way that helps you to recycle better is a challenge when you try to scale it up in most of the cities. And we should really try and understand how we can do it. But there are a lot of these frameworks which are actually available. And when we really think about a production linked incentive scheme or output oriented scheme, the output is not just in terms of turnover, it is also in terms of what waste you're generating, what effluents you're discharging. So what is the output is not necessarily now to be defined by just what turnover, like how many lakh, maybe a job work will say how many lakh jeans you produced. But also about how much of the effluents have been discharged, how much of the waste has been. So how could we be more resource efficient? In fact, I'm very sure that you are very keen to know what is the status of the tufts and what will be coming ahead. So we need to introduce these concepts into our new schematic interventions. Maybe we also need to think about how we can incentivize more of adoption of more sustainable technologies. We need to think about how we can actually layer our schemes with trying to create incentives for those who want to adopt technologies which are more efficient in cleaner production, less waste generation. This is the thinking which we all will be now. In fact, our schemes and our policy will be having this sustainability angle in a big way. And I think it's a paradigm shift in what we think as the output of a particular unit. Output of a particular unit does not just mean what you are generating, but along with the production, what else are you generating, which is causing harm to the environment, is also going to be now examined. And maybe we will have to discourage that sort of a production process. I would say that the journey is very challenging, but the first point and the last point is that how do we actually come together, collaborate in a cluster? How do we create lessons for the other clusters to? And I'm glad to know that there are many organizations who have been working at the cluster level. My first task would be to, first of all, to bring them together, take lessons from them, and then rather than just because compliance or just a certificate of sustainability, like many of us would think that if you get a certificate, it will be like a compliance for a sustainable production, but LEED certification, or we all see that many times when I Google certification. So we find a host of accreditation agencies, and we find host of certification systems, which tell us, who is doing what. But apart from that, it's like we used to work very hard on these open defecation campaigns. And then the output of all that used to be a board outside the village, which said that this is an open defecation free village. And the first thing was that once the board was installed and launched with a lot of fanfare, then the breaches used to happen, because there was always somebody else who was trying to sort of pull down that work. So it's not just a board that is inaugurated or a certificate that is going to be with us. It's going to be about how we are going to bring about small changes, like Shalini was mentioning about baby steps, about how we actually can do much more by very small initiatives, how we can actually make our production less wasteful. So there's a lot of capacity building gap. I do get on LinkedIn a lot of suggestions or expectations about how we can actually begin hand-holding and capacity building of MSMEs. And I feel that we need to create, because we need to create master trainers from within. So, for example, if this is a cluster which we are working on, and if you identify, resource persons or resource organizations who have now developed that knowledge about an understanding for which they can actually disseminate, and then we create master organizations, master capacity building organizations who now take it forward to the other clusters. I think this is the way forward. And my experience is that when, seeing is believing. So beginning with one cluster, creating success in this, and then trying to see that they share the work with the other clusters, and the other clusters then take it forward. This is what will make the journey much more faster, and will help us to actually learn from each other, because just creating a policy framework without understanding where we are, and also creating a vision together is, in fact, I'm very happy to say that there is a sure resolution, if you have heard of it, a sustainable resolution, where about 18 brands have come together, and they are very keen to now come together. And it was before COVID, so there was a lull, and they would like to now reactivate. In fact, they spoke to me that they would like to come and try to understand as to what they can do together with the ministry. So trying to work out voluntary benchmarks, some standards within, and trying to reach that. So self-regulation, self-motivation is going to be a very crucial parameter in this journey, which is going to take a lot of our energy. But if we share it together, it will help us understand that our journey it's a process. It's not a destination, or it's not a certificate that we would like to have. I think the European Union has also now started a 2030 vision, and the textile roadmap has come in, where they've defined, they're only talking about durable products. They are talking about products which are long lasting. So maybe the demand for that number of clothes might reduce. So they are looking at clothes as something which is going to be worn for a long time, and therefore has to be durable. They're talking about more and more use of recycled fibers. This might create a new economy within us for meeting the export obligations to these countries. Might bring in a lot of recycling units, which might come in the formal economy. So this space will really have to be watched out, because it might create a new ecosystem, a formal economy. And we at the ministry and all of us together, we have to help understand these challenges and convert them into really opportunities for us to take forward. I would say that even I would say that I'm open to all possibilities. We should all try and come together and understand what we all can do in the first 5 years. Maybe we cannot be too demanding in our vision, but in the first 5 years, what can be done to meet the larger goals of our sustainable textile economy. And like Shalini has said, that it all begins with understanding that we are part of Mother Nature. Even fashion and nature is interconnected. The clothes we wear come from the Mother Earth and they go back to Mother Earth. So being more responsible citizens is also going to, bringing these small changes in our own life. Like I remember that Rahul Mehta of the Sure Resolution was mentioning that he had been to one corporate house at 11 o'clock in the morning, and it was very warm. It was quite warm to begin with. So he asked the head of that group that, isn't it too warm for this office, this room? So he said, till 11 o'clock, we in our office don't put on the ACs, because till 11 o'clock, I think we can manage with that temperature. So though that is the small changes even in the corporate world which are happening, and we need to be just alert and we need to just pick them up and try to internalize them. These small things make a lot of difference in the way we look at the problem, because if the problem is seen to be very overwhelming, it gets into us we look at it as a problem and very difficult to tide over. Rather, we look at it as a challenge, and that it is not so difficult as we might think. So thank you once again for inviting me. I'm looking forward to the discussion ahead, and all the inputs which come for creating this roadmap for Surat is actually going to benefit the entire, all the clusters, and especially the Ministry of Textiles, because these lessons are going to be very important, because MMF, about 70% of the world, of course, here in India, it's more because we have cotton production, which is surplus. We are a net exporter of cotton. So it's 30-70, 30% is MMF and 70%, but this is fast changing. The CAGR rate of MMF is is in double digits. So we know that very soon MMF is going to also, the ratio is going to change in India. So these lessons from the cluster will help us to extrapolate. And then we also need to think how we can go to the next other clusters, which are receptive. Like Surat is a receptive cluster. So we began with a receptive cluster, how we can actually go to these other clusters. And I'm sure that once Surat begins, everybody else follows. So I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad that Surat has taken this initiative. It's a very vibrant culture, a vibrant organization like South Gujarat Chamber of Commerce, South Gujarat Textile Processor Association. These are all associations, and I think the vibrancy of any ecosystem depends on its institutions like this. Government is one of the institutions, but also having vibrant institutions like the WRI, I was listening to them, the ISC, these are organizations which make such change possible, in their own bit. So I'm glad to be here, and I will now, after this, I will look forward to the discussions ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prajakta ma'am. Thank you for the wonderful talk. It's been quite inspiring. It's been quite enjoyable, in fact, listening to you on sustainability perspectives. As you rightly said, ma'am, sustainability is not a way of life, but a way of business. Surat is known for its entrepreneurship. Surat is known to be a business hub of Gujarat. And I'm sure in times to come, the fraternity here in the city, including that in the textile sector, would imbibe sustainability and its true spirit. With that, we would conclude the session here because we are running quite late. So the industry interaction, which was otherwise planned, will be carried forward in the next session. But before that, I would be failing my duty if I do not express our gratitude and thankfulness to all those that made this particular day a success, starting with the Chamber of Commerce, the STTPA, both our project partners. Thank you so very much, sir. for being with us during this journey, and we look forward to your continued support in times to come. We'd also like to thank WRI and ISC for their support in organizing the Innovation Mela, which was done over a period of 3 to 4 weeks only, but we have a very good turnaround there. And thank you the officials of both the agencies. We are also grateful to the Commissioner, Surat Municipal Corporation, for being with us this morning and addressing us. And last but not the least, we would definitely be failing if we do not express our gratitude to the Joint Secretary, Prajakta ma'am, for spending the day with us, learning more about us and telling us a little more than what we could have done otherwise. We are inviting the industry stakeholders, the steering committee members and the working group members for the next session, which is the policy dialogue, which will take place in the main building, second floor. The main building where the chamber is located on 6th floor. We are hosting this policy dialogue on the second floor. So all the industry members and the working group steering committee members are requested to finish their lunch as early as possible and assemble second floor next building by, let us say, 2 o'clock. Yeah. We also take this opportunity to thank our sponsor, the Steam House, your own gift to the city, gift to the nation, a wonderful company that is emerging and I'm sure will spread its wings across the country. The Steam House that has been instrumental in making what you see there. Thank you so much. Please join us for lunch, and 2 o'clock we reconvene for the policy dialogue. Thank you so very much.